Drop a like and subscribe in the next 5 seconds if you'd love to log in and have Epic Games randomly surprise you with these V-Bucks on your Fortnite account. The Fortnite 14.30 update is just around the corner, and with that said, we're expecting one of the biggest updates of Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 4. Despite Season 4 being completely taken over by the Marvel characters, whether mythic bosses in-game that we're primarily talking about today, or the Battle Pass and skins or cosmetics as a whole, let's just say with us approaching the Fortnite Halloween Event Fortnitemares for its 4th installment in 2020, we're going to be seeing now more bosses implemented than ever that Epic Games have either leaked, teased, or are in the game's coding. In today's video, for that reason, we're going to be covering all that information and showing you guys what's inevitably upcoming or being worked on for the future of Fortnite Season 4, whether in the next update or the future of Fortnite Season 4 updates, as 14.40 and 14.50 are currently being tested. Real quick before we dive into it all, however, make sure you're subscribing to the channel right now, as not only has GiddyUp given you the red card, which we concluded from yesterday's video means you need to subscribe, but we're also incredibly close to 1.9 million subscribers and are trying to get 2 million by the end of the year, and if you do subscribe, let's just say you might have as much luck as seeing this in real life, a guy riding a llama dancing around orbiting planets. As always though, like in every video on the channel I post, we're going to be gifting now some lucky subscribers this treat yourself emote instead of treating myself to this from the item. Now that was a bad joke. And quickly before we do, to ensure I can gift more subscribers in every video, make sure you're rocking code FriendlyMachine inside the Fortnite item shop, as by supporting me being an official Epic partner, obviously proven in videos I do gift, this will allow me to then take the funds and directly reinvest it back into the channel, meaning gift more of you guys. Also, unlike other YouTubers who just say comment your Epic Games ID, I actually had subscribers who sent me friend requests from seeing my Epic Games ID in videos, as you can see I'm doing in the background right now. And with that said, with our V-Buck, well, I don't know why it's 820, I don't know how I had 20 V-Bucks left over at one point. We need to buy some more V-Bucks, so let's do that right now. And despite us having 20 V-Bucks on the end of our number, we have enough now to send 5 of you guys the treat yourself emotes. If you want to end up like any of these 5 lucky subscribers that I'm going to be gifting today, simply make sure you subscribe to the channel with all notifications turned on so that you're the first of the future videos and see if you did get gifted in it, or I can only gift 4. A gift from the item shop like the 4 people it only let me select there. And hey, why not? With the V-Bucks left over, I'm actually going to treat myself, even though I said I wasn't going to. And with that said now, I don't know why it glitches out so close. Let's dive into all these mythic bosses, when they're going to be coming, what they are, and how we know of their existence. Speaking of bosses, first of all, this is going to be the final one we're seeing approach the Fortnite Island as it glows closer by the day. And to talk about our first mythic boss, wow, those jack-o'-lanterns look bright in the dark, we're going to be landing at the Authorita. And we did mention this, I'll go over it in yesterday's video very briefly, but I didn't get to show you guys why I think everything is going to be happening here, so listen closely. So for those that don't know, to complement Fortnitemares, in the Authority itself, we have cobwebs appearing, whether that's from it being abandoned or to do with the Halloween theme, I don't know. But we have these sheets over things too that kind of make everything seem ghostly. And speaking of ghosts, even though shadows seem to be still taking over this place, let's just say in the next update there's another cobweb, and another, and a shadow logo. We're potentially going to be seeing the return of the guy we all thought was dead himself, Midas, and potentially he could be a mythic boss guarding this vault that potentially has some further use or updates made to it. Maybe perhaps closed and, you know, have things inside that we can loot instead of just one chest. And speaking of Midas's return, right as we leave the Authority, as he was a mythic boss here in Chapter 2 Season 2, then got booted out or replaced by Jules in Chapter 2 Season 3. Upon him returning, which has been confirmed as we're going to be breaking down in just a second, it would make sense for him to return home to his beloved first ever boss location, as bosses were introduced in Chapter 2 Season 2, the Authority that was once the Agency. I'm running out of the circle, but the Authority's dead, no wonder it's covered in cobwebs. Hopefully we can see some enemies over here. There's builds around, but they're just scattered all over the place, to be honest. I literally always mistake these things for being actual players. Let me know in the comments if that... Whoa, wait, there's somebody here. How did he see me through the tree? Fish stick. Sorry I had to do that. We're not combined just yet. But in terms of Midas returning, the proof we have all the leaks suggesting this, with him then being a mythic boss surrounded by new henchmen, Hypex tweeted out that Midas will be returning holding some form of legendary scar, maybe a mythic one like Sky had at the Shark in Chapter 2 Season 2, and more interestingly, the ghostly Ghost Henchmen. And obviously, Ghost aren't the team that are currently located here or have taken it over, as the shadow logos are still plastered everywhere, and many people have speculations about what Midas will look like upon return, whether it's the Iron Midas from the last Laugh bundle releasing November 17th I believe, or a zombie form to complement Fortnitemares as we're so close to it releasing. Speaking of bosses, there's an unfortunate kit I've just knocked. You were once a boss, but you're not anymore, little cat. What? That looked really weird. I looked like I was drowning. Never mind drowning, I'm gonna die to the storm in a minute. But yeah, speaking of what Midas or the Ghostly Ghost Henchmen may look like, they may look very similar and because of that be in their ghost form. Not just the Team Ghost, but like this that my designer EA made over on Twitter, the Ghostly Ghost Henchmen in concept form. Would you guys like to see these? Man in the Authority anyways, with a ghostly version of Midas, like this that he also made? I definitely know I would, because honestly the Mythic Boss developments have only really been to do with our Marvel characters thus far in this season. I mean, the first of which, or one of the first, Ian Tony Stark that made all of these beacons here like that, and then transported this huge thing into the Fortnite world where he now mans with his mythic abilities. And speaking of Marvel characters or their mythic abilities and them becoming mythic bosses in game, even though we have more mythic abilities in the game right now than bosses, as we only currently have Doctor Doom, Wolverine and Iron Man, we not only know from the game's coding that Mystique is being worked on as a mythic boss that potentially will be manning somewhere with a vault like the grotto that was once named on the map but isn't anymore considering it's flooded. Hopefully that can then descend the water as it did in Season 3 but out of this particular location. And in terms of her mythic Uzi weapons that are dual wield that she's going to be holding or using, which I'm guessing are going to be really overpowered, here is what those will look like in gameplay form that Data Miners managed to pull into the game early. Come here dude, I've hit you once and you're knocked. Dodging them bullets. Oh, got him. The grotto scenario is obviously just a theory of mine that I think would be really cool in all honesty for Epic Games to innovate into, because let's face it, it was popular when it was here manned by Brutus, a previous mythic boss or one of the first, and even though now, because Wolverine's implemented around the Weeping Woods Slurpy Swamp vicinity, and him not having a vault, they don't need to be implemented around a vault particularly, or is forced to be around this location anyways like Iron Man and Doctor Doom. This doesn't then force her to obviously be at a vault, but we definitely know she's upcoming regardless. Speaking of other Marvel characters upcoming, however, we actually have a ton of teases in the game's coding about things being worked on to do with skins that potentially then could be mythic bosses, such as what was found on the Helicarrier that will be approaching the map. I can't see it now because of the storm. And again, Data Miners managed to pull this... Oh! No, man. Whew, that was close. But yeah, Data Miners managed to pull this into the game early of what it will look like above our map, and yes, we can land here because there is a vault that we can interact with on it that also suggested this. And speaking of what's on the ship itself, obviously a big hint to do with the skin ID or something attached to it in the coding is Nick Fury's eye patch. So could Nick Fury be manning this place as a mythic boss? And have his own keycard? I guess we're yet to know. In terms of our mythic bosses though for Marvel, that doesn't just stop there, because despite us having other abilities in the Marvel-based LTM, such as what belongs to Storm, her whirlwind or whatever, then Black Panther's kinetic armor ability, which we're going to be discussing furthermore a Black Panther boss in just a second. And let's not forget Venom's ability, which I've forgotten the name of, but here it is on screen. Venom actually has some developments made of him to do with other cosmetics based around him and a skin upcoming, as you can see in the files. There's currently a contrail being made surrounding him which wouldn't appear unless he was going to be a skin. And speaking of Black Panther, considering we also just mentioned him and we're about to get the Victory Royale, we not only have the kinetic armor mythic ability in the Marvel based game modes, but his Panther's Prowl location, I'll try and find it on the map before I'm killed. Either way it looks like this, I'll throw some footage up on screen or cinematic shot of it. And with sadly Chadwick Boseman passing away as of recently, it would be a nice touch for Epic Games to commemorate him by making a skin of him, which I think they're going to do, and then donate all the money to a charity, obviously surrounding cancer, as that's how he died. This guy's just below me, I really don't know what to do. Shooting repeatedly. And despite Black Panther, we also have other characters that have locations surrounding them or teasing their upcoming as a skin or mythic boss, like Ant-Man, which was actually one of the first mythic bosses to boom, we just got it but missed the trick shot, which as you can see was one of the first Marvel characters, not mythic bosses should I say, and we had to hop into Battle Labs because that game ended, to receive a point of interest called Ant's Manor that was actually pulled into the Fortnite world from either Tony Stark's doing or from the Rifts returning and simply placing it here. And despite us getting other points of interest pulled through into the Fortnite world that aren't entirely Marvel related nor linked to a specific character such as the Collector's Museum, the point of interest Ant Manor actually implies itself that there's going to be an ability as we're tiny compared to everything, as if we're ants, that then allows us to become ant-like or become how Ant-Man is in the movies, either really tiny or completely huge, and hopefully that correlates then in the fight potentially against our final boss, if we can see him in the sky, being obviously Galactus, that will hopefully look like this as a cinematic shot when some form of timer ends that we can be expect to be updated on by Epic Games in terms of when this will happen, and hopefully by then with the Helicarrier obviously being over our map, which seems to be getting closer in all honesty for a spawn island location anyways, as they're usually way in the distance, we can then team up as an entire lobby, defeat Galactus as a final boss in an LTM or for a one-time live event, and then determine the fate of the Fortnite island depending on how quick we do this to prevent as much destruction as possible, unlike the final showdown. And with that said, that's all I've got for you guys in today's video, so if you enjoyed, found it helpful or informative, slap a like in it down below and make sure you're subscribing to the channel with all notifications turned on, as 70% of you aren't subscribed, and that way then hopefully I can recognise you guys from remaining active in the comment section of my future videos to come here on the channel.